Okay. Yo, what is going on YouTube? In today's video, we will be discussing what iPhones you can buy in 2022. We will be discussing current iPhones, the current lineup, and I'll just be saying if I'd recommend them, if I not, pros, cons, whatnot. We will only be discussing the new lineup of iPhones, so we're not going to dive into like any of the old used iPhones. Just for simplicity's sake, if you want me to make a old used iPhone videos, I would be happy to. But in this video, I'm just going to be sticking to new iPhones you can buy from Apple right now, new. Okay, so kicking off, we have the iPhone SE 2022. And if you've seen my videos on the past SEs, or SE 2020, you would know I am not a fan of it, to say the least. Yeah, okay, so the iPhone SE 2022. Now, let's start off with the pros. Why not? So, it has the Apple A15 Bionic, which is arguably the fastest GPU in the entire world, beating out some $1,000+ Android phones, which is extremely impressive. However, you might be thinking, well, it has the fastest chip in the world. That means all of the other components in the phone are amazing. And that is where you would be wrong, unfortunately. So, paired with that, we only have 4 gigabytes of RAM, which, well, I mean, considering iPhones are all lacking in RAM, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say whatever. 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's an increase from the 3 gigabytes of RAM we had last year. So, okay, let's give it the pass. Even though 4 gigabytes of RAM is nothing, we'll still give it the pass. And before you come at me with, oh, well, iPhones don't need that much RAM because the software is so optimized. No, that's not true. I have the 13 Pro Max with 6 gigabytes of RAM. That is, well, yeah, 6 gigabytes of RAM. And it still reloads apps. So, yeah, no, that's... We're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM, 12 gigabytes plus on Android phones. So, yeah, iPhone needs to catch up. So, yeah, 4 gigabytes of RAM, A15 Bionic, and if you've seen my past videos on the iPhones 13s, you will know that the A15 Bionic has 2 different variants. A 4-core option on the standard 13s, and a 5-core option, or I'm talking about graphical cores, on the 13 Pro lineup. So with this, we have the weaker A15, well, not surprisingly, we have the weaker A15 Bionic with only 4 graphical cores. So, yeah. Nevertheless, though, it is still extremely powerful and beats out most Android phones. So, yeah, I mean, still good. Yeah. Okay. So, then, yeah, we do have options 64, 128, or 256 gigabytes of storage, which, I mean, yeah, I guess that's enough. That's kind of a personal preference. I mean, even like with my PC builds, I always say storage is a personal preference. So you can decide how you feel about that. Yeah. So, okay. With the screen, we only have a LCD display, 326 ppi at 720p resolution. And if that rings a bell to you, that is probably because the 2010 iPhone 4 had the exact same display. Yeah, so we have one of the fastest chips in the world with a display from 12 years ago. Yeah, so I mean, okay. Let's keep going. So we have a 12 megapixel rear, a single 12 megapixel rear camera, and a front camera of 7 megapixels, f2.2 aperture, and 1080p 30 frames per second on the front, and it can do 4K 60 on the rear. So yeah, the rear camera definitely, or at least the video, it's decent. Certainly, I mean, when the iPhone 8 came out in 2017, it was extremely impressive, but now, I mean, it's using the same, like, basic set of cameras, so, or camera, in one, so, I mean, yeah, it kind of is outdated, but it still performs decently. 1800 milliamp hour battery, and it can do 5G sub 6 only. It has Wi-Fi 6, starting from the 11s, and then Bluetooth 5, and I believe that's just carried over from the 8. So, I mean, a lot of the features from the A15 Bionic is now on the iPhone SE 2022. But yeah, okay, this is an extremely unbalanced phone. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this phone. At $430, like, it's like you get an amazing chip, but then everything else sucks. And if you've, like, seen, like, on my last video, when you were gaming on the iPhone SE 2020, because the A13 at the time was, and still is, extremely fast, extremely powerful, paired with the 1800 milliamp hour battery, which is the same as the 8, same as the old SE, 2020 SE, not the 2016 SE, it drops 1% every minute when you are pushing it, and it can, the A13 could go hard, and the A15 is even more powerful than the A13. Water break. So yeah, quite honestly, I would not recommend this phone. It is extremely unbalanced. I'm not a fan. I mean, even if you want the power, there's really not much you can do with it, considering that display. I mean, the display, there's a lot of bad things about the SE 2022, but the display is by far the worst. And you're only getting Touch ID, which, I mean, okay, not the best. Yeah, so, realistically, this is an unbalanced phone I would not recommend. Okay, moving on to the 13 mini. $700 or $699, 5.4-inch display. It is the same exact size as the iPhone 5, so keep that in mind. We're getting the same A15 Bionic, 4GB of RAM, but a much better OLED HDR 1080p plus resolution, 476 ppi, so you're already getting an amazing score, very good screen. 4-core A15 Bionic GPU, and then for storage you get its default 128 or 256 or 512, and of course that you get Face ID, dual 12 megapixel cameras, and then a front 12 megapixel camera, so you can do 4K 60 on all the cameras, which is very, very nice. And then you get a 2300 milliamp hour battery, and then you get the same 5G and all that stuff. So yeah, the cell reception is way better because, I mean, you can only do sub 6 5G on the SE, and then with the 13 mini, you can do not only sub 6 but millimeter wave and everything in between. So it is a very, very nice like cellular device. So yeah, this is a powerful phone, a very, very nice display. However, unfortunately, it is a very small display. It is the 5.4-inch display with the body of the iPhone 5, or the body size. It's nothing like the iPhone 5, much, much better phone. But yeah, as you can imagine, it only has a 2300 milliampere battery, paired with that fast chip, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 5G. This thing will drain fast. Now, not as fast as the SE, because that thing is just an absolute embarrassment. I would recommend that to no one in terms of battery life. This phone, you will struggle to get 5 hours on it. And 5 hours is good battery life. Typically you'll be seeing, like I saw, so 5 hours, less if you're, like, actually, like, gaming and doing video rendering on it. But if you are okay with mediocre battery life, if you have a charger at hand, because this thing does charge fast, supports 12-watt wireless charging and 20-watt wired charging, with a 2300 milliampere battery, this thing will charge up extremely fast if you have a charger with you. So, yeah, I mean, battery life is its biggest weak point, and I'd say its only weak point. I know a lot of people will mention, well, it doesn't have a 120 hertz display, which, I mean, it would be nice if it had a 120 hertz display, but on a 5.4-inch display, unless you're gaming and really, really noticing, it won't really make much of a difference. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but that's just the truth at the end of the day. So, $700 for the iPhone 13. Some would say it's a little bit overpriced. I might agree with what you're getting, but at the end of the day, it is a good phone, to be honest. Okay, next up, for $800 or $799, you get the iPhone 13. 6.1-inch display. It is the OLED HDR 460 ppi, so very, very nice. And then you're getting the same 4-core GPU, same RAM, same storage configurations, but basically just a bigger display, and you're also getting a 1000 milliamp hour battery increase. So this thing is definitely nice. It will definitely last you above 6 hours. I've seen tests where it's gotten like 8 hours. So I would definitely, this is a phone I can recommend for sure. It has a great display, not 120 hertz. Unfortunately, it would be nice considering Android phones at the same price point have 120 hertz. It'd be nice if Apple included it, but it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, in order to compete with Android phones like Samsung, it's competing directly with the Samsung Galaxy S22. It has 120 hertz. This phone does not. So for that sake, I wish it had 120 hertz. Even if it's not that noticeable, it still would be nice. But yeah, it is, for $800, you are getting a faster chip than the S22, better battery life than the S22, and a higher resolution display than the S22. Minusing, you're getting better software features and a higher refresh rate, or double the refresh rate at 120 hertz on the S22. So, I mean, these ones kind of just do swap lows a little bit. But, I can recommend the 13 for $800. Definitely a good phone. And I am talking about all USD prices. You walk into Apple in America, this is what you will be paying. Okay, next up, the iPhone 13 Pro. Okay, so this phone starts at $1,000 for 128 gigabytes, and it has the same 128, 256, 512, but it also goes up to 1 terabyte, which is nice. However, 1 terabyte's a lot of storage. I think it's a good thing that they offer that much storage. However, you can only, Apple is still stubborn. They are only doing Lightning in terms of their connectors for their iPhones. So what that means, if you go to transfer a terabyte of video, so let's say if you're doing ProRes 4K HDR, 6 gigabytes per minute, and you try to transfer that to your computer, it will take an eternity. So I wish Apple includes USB Type-C. I really wish they included it. But yeah. So, yeah, there's that. $1,000, 128 gigabytes is its default. You cannot do ProRes 4K video with 128 gigabytes of storage, which, I mean, kind of sucks that, I wish Apple gave you the option. Even if it's not a good idea, I still wish you had the option to do it. Okay, so, yeah. Now we upgrade from a 4-core to a 5-core GPU. We now get a 3x telephoto, a 1x wide, and a 0.5 ultra wide. Very, very nice. Very, very nice cameras. Very, very nice videos. A 3095 milliamp hour battery. So, yeah, it's definitely low. But it still performs about half an hour longer than the 13, which is nice, considering the 12 outlasted the 12 Pro last year. So, yeah, we're getting all the same 5G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. We're only at Bluetooth 5, which, I'm pretty sure the S22 has Bluetooth 5.1, so that definitely is an improvement. Yeah, so overall, the Pro, and you do get 460 ppi ProMotion OLED HDR display, 120Hz, so like the best of the best in terms of displays. The only caveat with this display is it only goes from 120Hz to 10 Hz. The S22 Ultra goes from 120Hz to 1 Hz. So the display is more efficient. So kind of wish Apple did that too, but no. Oh well. Yeah, so 6.1-inch display, 3000 milliamp hour battery. It's a good phone, but for just $100 more, you can buy a 13 Pro Max. And that phone is definitely quite a bit better. Unlike the iPhone 12 Pro Max and the 12 Pro, the 13 lineup doesn't really have any performance difference per se, because I know the 12 Pro Max got optical video stabilization and the Pro didn't. This time, all the 13 lineups have optical video stabilization. The SE 2022 does not, so yeah, kind of sucks. Not really surprising though. It's an extremely unbalanced phone. I know I've said that like the 100th billion time. The iPhone SE 2022 is extremely unbalanced. And same thing with the 2020, but the 2022 just got the massive problem escalated to a whole nother level. So, would not recommend the SE 2022. I know I said that before. I will say it again, and I will keep saying that forever. Do not recommend the SE 2022. Okay. So, iPhone 13 Pro Max, the last one. So it starts at $1,100 for 128 gigabytes. Kind of would recommend you upgrade to 256, especially for that ProRes video. So yeah, you get the A15 Bionic 5-core GPU, the same one, same storage options, same colors, Sierra Blue, Gold, Silver, Graphite, and you can get the green. Now, I got the green. It's a great color. It doesn't really besides color, doesn't offer any performance advantages, but it's a good color. Do I have the case? I do. Boom. There it is. Or not the case, the box, sorry. But yeah, so 6.7-inch display, and you get a 4,300 milliamp hour battery. So, I mean, some tests, I would say, like, you can expect about a 2.5 hour battery life increase. So about 10 hour, on that 10 hour mark. I recently just saw a battery test where the iPhone 13 Pro got 7.5 hours, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max got 10.5 hours. So that is a 3-hour increase. And I will say on the 13 Pro Max, yeah, I mean, if you are not really going very hard, the phone can last 2 days. It can last an entire weekend on one charge. It does amazing battery life. However, if you're just using that 120 hertz, using 5G cellular, maxing out the brightness, maxing out the volume, and playing a graphically intensive game all day, you will be able to kill it by the end of the day. So it's not invincible. No cell phone is there yet, but you are getting amazing battery life. I mean, I literally, I struggle to get it below 50%, like, using it an entire day. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not, all that isn't from gaming, but it's truly amazing battery life. I mean, the Pro also has good battery life. It's just for $100 more, you can get better battery life and a better display. Yeah, I would say the best phones, the 13 mini is good, but for $100 more, you can get a 13, which is the much better phone in my opinion. The iPhone 13 Pro is good, but for $100 more, you can get a 13 Pro Max, which is a much better phone in my opinion. So, honestly, I would say you should either go for the standard 13 or the 13 Pro Max, would be my opinion. But yeah, alright, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Peace out.